Hey, what's up everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right. So, a day after the Lakers beat the OKC Thunder pretty handily. We're very proud of the squad, man. Very proud of the squad for showing up, especially the bench who played especially poor against the Denver Nuggets. I thought they came back with a certain level of pride. You could see that they had been embarrassed by that really frustrating loss. And it wasn't just that we lost. It was that we lost the same way we always do to the same team in this way, in that fashion where they have a close game. Maybe we'll have the lead in some of that game, maybe even most of that game. And in the final 5 minutes, we just get pushed past and out executed for our team to bounce back against the OKC Thunder and really play well after a loss like that. Just spoke to the level of fight that we still have. We're not going to be demoralized by circumstances such as those. We're not going to forget what we've already accomplished in winning the in-season tournament and being the team with 35 wins, I believe it is, or 34 wins against some pretty good teams this year. We've shown up for ones that we should consider big games. And so I thought this was another big game. And the Lakers showed up in dramatic fashion, played some of the best defense in about a month, played some of their best defense from a bench perspective. Guys like Taurean Prince really stepped up. I thought, even though we had Cam Reddish in limited minutes in that last game here, I thought he played fantastic in the limited minutes that he played defensively, providing a great deal of energy with Anthony Davis, accompanying Anthony Davis defensively, for which our team has been lacking without him and without Vando. So, you know, our offense showed up. We did a good job of hitting shots. Obviously, D'Angelo Russell's talent was shining yesterday, really bright in the 37-point third quarter that the Lakers had. He was a big part of why all of that was possible. And, you know, we just feel good about what we saw on both sides of the floor, which is something that we can't say we've said too often. Definitely not since the All-Star break. So it feels good to have praise to speak about in regards to our team rather than so many complaints. Night in, night out, we have a lot of things to rant about, but Los Angeles Lakers didn't give us too much to rant about yesterday. The only thing I can honestly say I didn't like was the turnovers. And if you look at the OKC Thunder, you got to feel great about your defense in the fact in a matter of 24 hours, you forced or were able to be the recipient of 42 turnovers between two teams, the Phoenix Suns and the LA Lakers. In back-to-back nights, you were able to see both of those teams have over 20 turnovers accredited to themselves on your behalf. So I think OKC's I think right now what I'm listening to is a lot of people saying we gotta try to position ourselves to play OKC. And I definitely want to play OKC above probably any of those other teams. So for me to say I disagree is a lie. I do agree. But I think when you look at that stat, you wonder if over the next 20 games, the OKC Thunder can continue to force as many turnovers as they have. And if they continue to, with this team, with a bunch of young players that could very well get a lot better over the next month, I don't know that you are going to love playing against them in the first round like we hope we would be able to. I think you would prefer them, but the idea that you're just going to sweep them out because you won a season series against them, it may not actually play out like that. And that's what I want to say to all my Laker family. Things are not as simple as we won the season series and we could beat this team in the playoffs. Playoffs is a entirely different story. They have a very good coach in Dagnall. And when the team gets a chance to see you over and over again, night in, night out, the thing that you don't want to overestimate is youthful legs versus your strength. We got strength, but they got youthful legs. And if the series plays out as much, they're going to be less likely to be affected by travel as we will as an older team. And that is a long flight back and forth. Now, we don't get that advantage in most of these situations. Minnesota's far away. Denver's up in the sky and far away. Obviously, with the Clippers, we would see no travel whatsoever. But, you know, it's not like I'm looking at OKC and just assuming that we're not going to lose at all against them, or that, you know, we're favored to win the series just because we won the season series. I've seen situations where teams have gotten swept by teams that they ended up seeing in the playoffs, and they beat that team that swept them. I've seen it. So that's what I want to express to everybody. Like, in the 30 years of me watching basketball, you can win a regular series with a team, destroy them in the regular season, see them in the playoffs and still lose. It's just a different battle in the playoffs. Teams get better or worse. Injuries can affect lineups and things of that nature. And you don't want to be cocky in any situation where you don't have home court advantage and the team has been substantially better than you record-wise all year long. Can we be happy that we don't see Denver? Yes. But to say that we just want to see OKC, I will be happy to make the playoffs, and I will be humbled by the idea of having a better matchup against OKC than maybe we would against the Denver Nuggets. But if I'm being honest with everybody, I think the Clippers is probably the matchup that I would prefer the most, given the fact that we beat them 3-1 too, even though one or two of those games was without James Harden. We beat them 3-1 too, and that series provides us no travel. No travel. And I like no travel a lot for my old legs. You understand what I'm saying? I like that a lot. And depending on whether or not Vando comes back determines whether or not I really think we're a much better team in matchup-wise. I don't think without Vando we match up as well with the Clippers as we do if he's out there harassing Paul George. Because at the end of the day, the last game we played against them, Paul didn't play. So that's why I'm not sitting up here saying, no, I don't want to play OKC. I want to play the Clippers. Nah, I would probably prefer to see OKC overall, given the circumstances. If they're fully healthy and we go in the way that we're going in right now, we feel great about our chances of being able to upset them. If Paul George plays for the Clippers, Kawhi and all them dudes out there, assuming that Russell comes back healthy, and we still look like this without getting Vando back, it's going to be a tough road. It's going to be a tough road, and the last thing you want to do is lose to the Clippers. So it's a lot. But what I would tell people is this. Denver's in that funny spot against us. A funny spot. We talk about the psychology of wanting to avoid a team. The thing that they need to be aware of is a dangerous thing that the Denver Nuggets are running into. You've beaten the Lakers 8 straight times. But what you can't forget is that every one of them games was close. What you also can't forget is this is a team that knocked you out of the Western Conference Finals in 2020. And although their team has changed a lot, our Lakers, the Denver Nuggets ain't changed a whole lot at all. Now, they did take a piece off of our team and ain't lost since in KCP. But the core that they're running with and the coach that they're running with is the same coach and core that we defeated in the bubble in the Western Conference Finals. Laker fans and a lot of Lakers analysts don't acknowledge this because there's been a lot of times between then and now. It's 4 years later. Jokic has gotten significantly better. You know, Porter is healthy and significantly better. Murray, I'd say, I don't know that he's better now, honestly, only because of the injuries. But I don't think he's worse, you know. So it's a lot to be said for them having synergy over the last several years, knowing each other very well. But at the end of the day, you can find yourself looking at the Lakers series last year in the Western Conference Finals, if you're Denver, and saying this is going to be an easy matchup for us because we beat them in the regular season 3-0, and we swept them out of playoffs, and we won the regular season game before that even started. So 8-game winning streak against the Lakers. Lakers can't beat us. But every game has been close. Every game has been close. And this team has seen success against you in the Western Conference Finals, just like you've seen success against them in the Western Conference Finals. So I would caution all Denver Nuggets fans who are super cocky about running into us as they listen to our analysts talk about they want to avoid them. You are walking into a fool's gold type of situation. You are walking into a fool's gold situation. Why? Because my Lakers have never been more motivated to beat anyone than they are the Denver Nuggets right now. And if the mentality is right, we're not running from the Nuggets. Our analysts are running from the Nuggets. Our fans are running from the Nuggets. And logic tells us we should avoid the Nuggets. But our team should want nothing more than to prove that they can overcome this. Nothing more. Competitors, you beat me 8 straight times and each one of them games was close. I'm close to beating you. And I could have won all them games. All of them. You understand what I'm saying? It's all about the mentality of both teams. So if the Nuggets are going in saying these boys are afraid of us and they can't beat us, you ain't been beating us by 25. You've been executing properly down the stretch. If we ever figure that out, those games are close. We had leads in all of them. And so these are things like, when I put myself in the shoes of the Denver Nuggets, I'm very cautious of the LA Lakers. And an NBA champion shouldn't necessarily be fearful of anybody that they beat 8 straight times, but they should definitely be cautious of a LeBron James and Anthony Davis-led team that you think you can roll over. That history has shown you can defeat, but you ain't been blowing out. You understand what I'm saying? Denver could be potentially about to bite into some fool's gold, thinking that they're gonna run through us in the playoffs this coming year. It's a secret. Nobody sees it coming. Ain't nobody gonna buy that. I'm not putting the money on the Lakers to win that series. I'm not stupid. And I'm not certain that the Denver Nuggets don't have the right mentality to overcome this. I don't know they're not, because they're already champs. They may have this worked into their equation. But they had better, is basically what I'm telling you. Not just as a Laker fan, but as somebody who's been watching basketball for a long time, somebody who's seen other series ain't got nothing to do with the Lakers to go a certain way. You do not, if you're the Denver Nuggets, want to just assume that just because you've had success against the Lakers over the last 8 games, that they can't come into the series and overcome that demon. That close game demon that you've been able to take advantage of. You may have the psychological edge, but now you're also their greatest threat to overcome. That greatest fear to overcome is you. And as I always say about fear, fear is not only dangerous to the person who holds that fear in their heart, but it's dangerous to the person who makes that fear come about, because now you are facing a cat who's injured and backed up against the wall. It's coming out clawing, and if you ain't prepared for that, you're gonna get scratched up. You know, it can provide you a certain level of confidence that you shouldn't have, making you think that you have a bigger advantage over the team than you actually have shown you have. And that's the danger for the Denver Nuggets in facing these LA Lakers. How you think I'm wearing this shirt? We went past them to get it. The same people that are running around in uniform are the same people we beat. And so that's what people need to never forget. Never forget. While we're sitting here talking about we need to avoid a team that we've already defeated in the playoffs, we're 1-1 in Western Conference Finals versus the Nuggets. 1-1. We beat them en route to getting the championship. They beat us en route to getting the championship. Last time I checked, that's math is even. And as I told y'all, the last time we beat the Denver Nuggets, I mentioned this in one of my videos randomly. We beat them with the same people they have on the floor now, and then proceeded the very next time we saw them to manage the game as if we were expecting to lose it regardless. And what I was saying was the same people that we had the opportunity to play with were going to go against the same people they had just beat. And we decided to give ourselves the game off as a scheduled loss. And that was a mistake, and we haven't beat them since. A lot of this is psychological. A lot of this, we can't guard them, the matchups are bad stuff is real. But a lot of why we've been losing these games is psychological. And any type of psychological battle needs to be overcome by a team en route to a championship. And so for me, I'm not necessarily looking to avoid the Denver Nuggets, because I don't think my team can win the championship anyway. Do you understand what I'm saying? So by my logic, I want to overcome a damn demon. That could be my championship. You understand what I'm saying? Now, maybe I don't want to see them in the first round. And maybe if you're one of those fans who believe we can win a championship with the right path, then you definitely want to avoid the Denver Nuggets. But I still think we get knocked off by the Celtics. I still think we could possibly get knocked off by the Minnesota Timberwolves. You understand what I'm saying? I don't think we're the best team in the bunch. But what I know is Denver has been able to overcome us the same way every single time. And that, my friends, in my mind, is psychological, because they ain't been blowing us out. If the matchups were so damn lopsided like everybody believes it is, then these scores would be lopsided. They're not. They're not. They're close games. and they're winning in the last 4 minutes of those games by out executing us. Throughout the meat and potatoes of most of them games, with these matchups that are supposed to be so damn lopsided, we be having leads. So for me, it's like, no, I'm not sitting here telling people not to be careful or fearful of the Denver Nuggets eliminating you, because they should be favored to eliminate you 9 out of 10 times. But what I'm saying is, if the Lakers are going to do anything at all this year, they had better face the fear of the team that they don't want to face, and understand the difference between a team that's blowing you out every time they see you and a team that's only beating you by like 7 points and 6 points every time they see you, and you be having to lead in every one of them games. You see what I'm saying? I think to say that the lopsided nature is overblown is not true, because at the end of the day, they are beating you. But how? How are they beating you? Are they blowing you out? Are they leaving you without a chance? Do you never have the lead? None of that's the case. Or is it just you down the stretch of the basketball game not playing the same level of basketball that you played throughout the course of the first 42 minutes? And that's psychological, friends. That ain't got as much to do with matchups as it has to do with them having a psychological edge on us. And my friends, that edge is far overstated in our minds, inflated in our minds. Because at the end of the day, these games have been close. We just got to find a way to execute better or blow them out, which is what I always say. If you drop 135 points on the Denver Nuggets, ain't gonna be no close game, because they don't typically score that much. What mistake did we make in that last game? We put Cam Reddish on the floor instead of D'Angelo Russell. That was a coach's psychological, I don't want to lose to this team, and I don't think D'Lo can play against them crap. And it had nothing to do with what D'Lo was actually going to do. I made that same mistake yesterday in the OKC Thunder game when we put our bench in the game. I'm sitting up there cussing at the screen. Didn't you see what our bench did yesterday? Don't play them dudes. And they came in and were like a plus 12 immediately. You can't let yesterday's fear cost you today's opportunity, because sometimes guys bounce back. Sometimes guys just play well. Do you know we would have won the Denver game if D'Lo was shooting the same way that he shot yesterday against them? We would have won that game. We would have won. The way D'Lo was shooting, we would have won. Psychologically, we need to get to a space where we have that type of confidence against those men. And we're not going to do that by psyching ourselves into thinking that the only way we're going to do anything positive is if we avoid them. That's not how you're going to win. That's not what's going to propel you to beating teams that are not as good as Denver, but probably would beat you. You understand what I'm saying? If you can get past Denver in the first round, who the hell can't you beat healthy after that? You're going to be fearful of the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Clippers in the second round if you beat Denver? Hell no. But I'm telling you right now, if you avoid Denver, ain't no guarantee. There ain't no guarantee that those other teams won't eliminate you even easier than Denver would. And all this avoiding Denver crap is just, it speaks to the mindset, man. It's a mindset. And I don't want my fans, the people that follow what I preach, to buy into that. I don't want to buy into that. I understand avoiding teams for the better path. I understand that the game is a matchup sport. But if the matchups were so lopsided, how the hell do we keep having close games against these dudes? That's not how we're losing. You're not losing because Porter is taller than you and ain't missing no shots. You're not losing because Jokic is 500 pounds heavier than AD. That's not why you're losing. You're losing because down the stretch of the basketball game, you don't execute the same way you start these games. All them shots you be hitting in the meat and potatoes of the quarters, now in the last 5 minutes of the game, you clam up. So the idea is to continue to clam up against this team psychologically and avoiding them and just accepting that we can't beat them in the final 5 minutes of basketball games, because we can certainly beat them if they call the game early. If they end these damn games at the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter, we win all of them. You see what I'm saying to you? It's not matchups. It's kicking your behind. It's your mentality. And it's your inability to overcome theirs. And we're just feeding into that as a fan base as we continue to cower from these guys, acting like they've been beating us by 40 every time we see them. They're not. If the matchups were that crazy, they would be. They have a formula that works, and it starts in our heads. Can we execute the same way we do in the first 48 in the last 5? Or the first 42 as we do in the last 6, or whatever the number would be. That's your equation. Not, we're too small. You're not too small. Because if you were too small, you'd never have a damn lead. These games will never be close. All the games will close. You need to execute better down the stretch. And you need to trust that your best executing offensive players are going to help you do that. Not subbing out those players for players that don't pose a threat on the defensive end or the offensive end for the other team to try to add to the guard. Jamal Murray's kicking your behind. He's tall. He's shorter than everybody. You understand what I'm saying? That's who's killing you down the stretch of these games. You got to out-execute him. And so for me, it's like, yo, the Lakers, I'm listening to people. I get it. We want to avoid Denver. That's cool. But in my mind, if I'm trying to win the championship, bro, I got to overcome demons. It ain't just about beating basketball teams. It's about overcoming fears. It's about beating my own demons and executing properly in situations where otherwise I would believe that I cannot. If you're going to be a champion, you got to do that. You can't avoid those demons. And you got to identify them properly. Ain't nobody on that team keeping us from getting leads in every game we've played in there. Nobody on the team's kept us from getting a lead. We had a lead in every game we played against Denver. You understand what I'm saying? The question is, can you keep playing the same way for 48 minutes and overcome their high-powered executing play down the stretch? Nah, man, I'm recording. I'll holler at you. It's one of them situations where it's like, at the end of the day, if the Los Angeles Lakers are going to overcome what it is that's coming at them, you must face those demons. Otherwise, you're just avoiding them and hoping for an easy path. And believe me, while you're chasing an easy path, that same demon is going to rear its ugly head against a different team. It just is. You're going to get out-executed by a Boston Celtics team in the finals, or out-executed by a Sacramento Kings team later. Something like you got to face your fears and identify them properly. And that's the key to all of this. If I thought this team was unbeatable, if I thought we could never beat the Denver Nuggets, if I saw that we were getting beat by the Denver Nuggets by 18 points every time we see them, and we never had 20-20 success against these guys, then I'd be like, cool. Yeah, we got to avoid them, man, because the matchups make it so that we can never win. That ain't what's happening. That's not how you lose in these basketball games. And I'm telling you, if you find a way to get better at the things that Denver's beating you at, you're going to beat everybody. That's the reality of it. If you can overcome that demon against that team, you're going to beat everybody after that. You got to face that fear, man. Face those fears and identify them properly. So that's what I want to tell people, man. I'm not with this. I don't like none of this I'm hearing. We got to avoid Denver at all costs, and you know, maybe it's smart for the Lakers to lose the first play-in tournament game so we can avoid Denver. Man, that's garbage. That's garbage, especially given the specifics of where Denver is in the standings. The top 3 teams are separated by 0.5 games, fam. You could do all that and still find yourself running into Denver. No, hell no, I'm not avoiding a team I've already beaten in the Western Conference Finals. A team that I've had a lead in against in every game. I'm not avoiding them like that, not to that degree. I'm not sitting up here saying I'm hunting them. That's not what I'm saying. The data shows they've been able to overcome you. But the data also shows that you've had opportunities to overcome them each and every time. Each and every time. I can argue a legitimate argument that the Sacramento Kings are a worse matchup because of how Sacramento beats us when they do. De'Aaron Fox gets 40 points. We can't stay in front of him. That's a physical problem. And we're going to get a chance to see them tomorrow. I don't know where his health is at. I ain't been paying attention to Sacramento. We do homework on him later, but salute the Kobe minute. I can argue that I probably need to avoid them. Because if we can't physically stay in front of De'Aaron Fox nor match his intensity throughout the course of the games, then you could have the best mentality you want. He's just going to get his 50 points and beat you. games won't be that damn close. You understand what I'm saying? That's different to me than what it is that we're faced with. With all due respect to the Jokic size advantage, that's different to me. But in regards to this, man, hell no. You're taking away the psychological advantage I have when LeBron James is on my team and he's been in 9 straight finals. You got to doubt yourself going up against that dude. And if you don't, you could probably lose that series. Are you going to bail Denver out? And mind you, when they beat us in the Western Conference Finals last year, you do understand our top 3 stars had foot injuries. You do know that, right? AD with the foot, Braun with the foot, D'Lo with the calluses. Anybody going to work that into their equation? Anybody going to think about any of that? Hell no, that team was healthy. If they would have ran into a healthy LA Laker team, like they would be this year in theory with our top 3 stars, I wonder if it goes the same way. We're letting them off the hook by allowing them to believe that we need to avoid them at all costs, as if we didn't have hurt players going up against them in the Western Conference Finals. See what I'm saying, man? Listen, I know and you know that Denver had a very favorable path to the finals last year. I know y'all know that. The Miami Heat were not as good as they needed to be to defeat them. We know that. The Lakers, like I just said, injury issues. Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, had injury issues. And I don't remember who they saw in the second round. Honestly, don't. But if I'm not mistaken, they were not 100% healthy. They didn't have the hardest path through the playoffs, you guys. They didn't. So please, understand what I'm saying to you. The Denver Nuggets are a good NBA champion, worthy champion. Everybody plays who's ever in front of them. But I don't know if they win that championship if they have a healthy Braun and AD and D'Lo up against them. I don't know if they win that championship if they were running into, say, the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks instead of the Miami Heat, who were playing a bunch of role players most of the damn time. I don't know that. I don't know that. If they had to run into Joel Embiid healthy, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But to assume they're just unbeatable, it's just crazy. It's crazy when we've had leads against them in every game we played in. And lose the same damn way each and every time. That's you not making the adjustments to make it so that something different happens in those circumstances. That's not them having some advantage over you. That's you not being able to overcome them mentally. And that's what you need to face if you're going to do anything. Anything at all in these playoffs that's worth actually celebrating. You got to overcome the demon that's coming at you. So that's what I want to say to my Laker fans, man. I am not with none of this. I respect avoiding Denver as a good strategic move based on what the data has told us they can beat us. But I'm not sure that other teams that have the same strengths as Denver won't just beat us just the same. Because at the end of the day, you have to execute well down the stretch of basketball games against good offensive teams. And you're going to run into some. En route to trying to get where you want to go, you're going to have to overcome stuff like this. And for me, there's an argument for getting that crap out the way early. If we're not good enough to beat the best, we should know that soon. Not having fool's goal of getting through the first round, second round. None of that. No, you should. Hey, are we good enough to beat these guys? Let's see if we can right away. If not, then we shouldn't be here. We should get eliminated first round any damn way. That's the truth. That's the God's honest truth if you're really a serious competitor. And you don't want an asterisk next to any championship you win. Because the moment you win a championship like this without facing Denver, all they're going to say is if you ran into Denver, your ass would have lost. Asterisk. And we already got that one on our bubble championship. So I'm not telling you I want to face Denver. I'm telling you if I do face Denver, I ain't running from Denver. I ain't running from Denver, and I can make an argument Denver should be very cautious of me as a Laker. Very cautious of me. BDL 44, thank y'all for watching. Wow.